recorder computer. Thank you. Right, so let me just mute all. Okay, right, so first of all, thank you for, look at Valerie giggling. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is the first time I've done this for a long time. I haven't been on a stage or leading a webinar because I just didn't feel that it was right for me to do it at that point in time. Used to do a lot of live streams. I would be live every single day. But I just felt that I wanted to take a step back from that and go, right, okay, what is it that feels right to me? I don't want to have to do it because I'm forced to do it, or because I'm being told if I don't do it, my business is going to fail, or any of those things that we're told we have to do when we're in business. And there's a young lady on this call who's known me for 20 years, who knows that when people tell me what to do, I tend to run in the opposite direction, say, I'm going to do it my way. I don't want to do it your way. And this has helped me in fantastic stead throughout. And so today, as you know, I've been posting about not everything is black and white. I didn't know what this was going to be about. I just saw a really cool black and white photo of me that my friend Jay took, and I went with that. And one of the things that I see going on in the coaching world, which I don't really like, is being told that we have to do things, or we have to show up a certain way and be a certain way, because we're just beautiful how we are, and how we show up is what's going to attract the people that are supposed to be in our life. I don't like how a lot of people are being told that so much is happening, and if it doesn't happen or you don't sign up, I don't like how people are being put into a space of scarcity or fear for them to become almost codependent on the coach to get them out of it. That feels really icky for me. So this is why when I put an offer out there, it's like, it's an invitation. If you want to join me, join me. I'm committed to empowering women, but I'm not attached to who shows up. And so a lot of these things that have been coming up for me over the last year, people going, Dawn, we really want you to do a live. We really want you to share with us. I was like, okay, when I'm ready, I will do it. And so now I'm ready. And some of the things that have been said to me, I thought, okay, I'm going to address all of these points. Hello, whoever that is in the car. And one of the things that came up for me the other day was how somebody got into the realm of stress jealousy, of how things were really bad, and you know, and there was all these excuses, and I'm like, look, you are talking to the wrong person if you want to discuss excuses and things going wrong. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my background so that you know a little bit more about who I am, and then I'm just going to go through all of these. Laura has very kindly offered and asked to be the person who I do some breakthrough work with. So I really acknowledge you, Laura, for stepping up and volunteering. So thank you so much. It takes a lot of courage to share and have a breakthrough call on a live webinar. I know when I was doing my Coach the Coach laser program with my mentor, Regan Hillier, when you're doing it live and you've got someone like Regan who is like just cutting through everything. On one of Regan's, I mean, she has millions of people following her, and on her live stream we had, I mean, I didn't even want to know how many people were live on her call. So I know that stepping up to do that can be quite daunting, but it also is one of the best things that you can ever do. So I really acknowledge you, Laura. So who is Dawn? Well, I'm Dawn. Yes, I'm a mother. Yes, I'm an author. Yes, I'm an entrepreneur. But at the end of the day, I'm Dawn. And however people experience me is how they experience me, whether it's through my coaching, or whether it's through having read one of my books, or whether it's they've done one of my courses, which, by the way, this is not a webinar that's going to lead you to buy something. You will hear about the things that I do, but I do not like those webinars where you do all of this stuff and then right at the end it's a hard sell to buy one of my products. You will hear what I have, you will have seen what I have on offer, but that's not the point of this. This is the point of doing a webinar to help other women who want to have an insight into some of the things of what it's taken me to get to where I am. If you choose to buy, you buy. My books are there, my courses are there, I am here. It's not a hard sell. So I want to clear that up right here, right now. I started in business when I was 21 with my first business. Before that, though, I had been working with an organization because I knew that I wanted to have my own business. So I actually contracted for other companies on long-term projects to actually gain an insight into each and every single area of business. And there was one chap that I remember working for, Ken Haken, down in Oxford in the UK. There was a gentleman who had an office in the same office block as us, and him and Ken were very good friends. Francis was going away on holiday, and he needed somebody to take over his business for a month. And he walks into the office, he goes, "Dawn, in Ken's office, please." And I was like, uh-oh, what have I done? Oops. And so I go into Ken's office, and there is Francis is there and Ken is there, and I'm like, oh no, this doesn't look good. And the next thing I know, I am being given the keys to Francis's office, and he shadows me for the first week, and then he disappears on holiday, and then I get to run his business for the rest of the time he's away. No contact with him whatsoever, and I'm like sat there at his desk making the business decisions that needed to be made. He had told everyone I was going to be running his business, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, I love this. And it was a confirmation of what I had learned when I was 16 and I was banquet manager for a hotel chain, one of the largest in the world. And I had become, at the age of 17, their hotel and banqueting manager of one of their most prestigious hotels in the UK, because I was a very good waitress and I was very good at customer service. I had spent a week overseeing this conference where high-end business executives were being coached. Me being me, I'm stood at the back of the hall with my journal and my pen, writing down all the homework these top execs are being told to do. I'm gathering up all the worksheets. I'm filling in the worksheets every night after work, and I am buying all the books that they have, they've been recommended to read, and I do the work. I then meet my ex-husband, who is still a very dear friend of mine, as you will probably have seen from the post yesterday. I had always had this goal of living at sea as well from the age of 8. I remember sitting on the beach with my parents. My dad was a beach fisherman. And I remember sitting there late at night, cup of tea in hand, moon boots on, big fluffy coat, and saying to my mum, I'm going to go and live out there. My mum had no doubt in her mind that what Dawn said would happen, Dawn would make happen. And so I then set off on this journey to do this. I met my ex-husband, who is from Cairo, so a city boy, but he's not a typical Arab. He had lived more in the UK than he had outside in Egypt. We started off on this mad, crazy adventure and misadventure together, had 2 beautiful children who, as you know, I'm not with at the moment. They are with him. So I miss them hugely. So if I talk about my children, expect the emotion to come through, because I haven't seen them or hugged them since August last year. I haven't had a hug since August last year. This is a reality of what my life is like. And so I have been on this crazy journey from hospitality, running a business. The first one was an IT business, and that business we looked at developing software. We worked in cybersecurity. We have published CDs and DVDs. I was the first woman to take touchscreens into the UK. I have done quite a lot of varied things and community work. I speak Arabic, and there have been a lot of different elements of my private and personal life which has created who I am. And this is one of the things that I wanted us to bring into today, because I am a firm believer that women are the best project managers, especially when they have had children. Mothers are the best project managers out there because they have to juggle so much. And as women, we do not look at how valuable we are to the society that we're in. If you've got any questions, please do pop them in the chat. Or if there's anything that you would like to discuss with me or mention or question me on as we go through, please do put them in the chat. I do have that open. I didn't actually mention that, so. But one of the things that has happened, I mean, I'm not going to go into what I've been through and all the exciting things that have happened in my life and all the journey, because they are in my trilogy, the trilogy of life itself. If you want to read more about me, then there are the books there. But one of the things that I've realized, and I have my mother in my head, it's like every morning when I get up and I don't make my bed, oh my God, it's like my mother is there in the back of my head going, have you made your bed yet this morning? It's like, yes, mother, I've made my bed this morning. She is a woman who I admire hugely. Whenever anybody says to me, who is it that you most admire in the world? You know, pick somebody, you know, let's model yourself on that person and their business. I'm like, the person who I admire most doesn't have a business. And I'm like, what do you mean? I said, well, it's my mum. Like, she's the woman that raised me. And when I got divorced, looking to her and what she had been through and seeing how things hadn't really changed, especially the social conditioning of women and the social mental programming that we had had. And it was almost the same when my ex-husband had a brain tumor. One of the things that was really interesting about that time was that people's perceptions of what it was to have a brain tumor and the doctor's perceptions and the lack of knowledge that the doctors had about health. And so me being me, I am somebody who gets a bone and she goes and she digs for it, you know, or she knows that there's something else. She starts digging. I'm a geek. I completely own that. When he had his brain tumor, I was given a leaflet on epilepsy. And I was like, but he doesn't have epilepsy. He had a brain tumor. He had some seizures. And they're like, no, he has epilepsy. I was like, well, no, he doesn't. He had seizures as a result of a brain tumor. And the doctors were adamant he had epilepsy. I'm like, he doesn't have epilepsy. I refused to believe it. So I started studying neuroscience because I'm like, I don't understand this. And lo and behold, we took him off the medications, and you know, and it's this desire and this curiosity and this stubbornness that I have had throughout my life. And the fact that when we've had curveballs that have hit us in life, such as the brain tumor and living out in Egypt during the uprising and understanding politics and all of these and the dynamics and leadership issues that are going on, but getting onto the skin of the politics, getting under the skin of culture, which has led me to want to travel the world. When I've got under the skin and gone, no, I don't get that. I don't feel that. That doesn't feel right for me. Why does that not feel right? And then I take a step back from what everybody tells me to do. And I say, no, I'm not buying into that. I need to go and do what I need to do for Dawn to be happy. I need to go and do and charge and be and create what I need. Because when I do that, I'm trusting myself. And this is one of the things that I've gone through, and it's like, okay, what skills do I have What knowledge have I gained? And how much do I trust myself and my learning and the choices I have made in life that has led me to where I am today? Because sometimes I hear all of this feedback from people. I'm like, they're saying all this stuff about me, but I'm just being Dawn. I don't get why this is so inspiring. Why do people not just do this anyway? And it took me a long time to unpack that actually not everybody is a complete and utter geek, Dawn, and not everybody will stand there and go, no, I don't agree with you. I don't want to do it that way. And I still have my mum. I mean, you'll hear conversations with mum come up on my promotions, and people said, I can't wait to meet your mum and see you two in action. But the thing is, I've always been this way. I don't know any other way, and I don't know who else to be other than me. And having had, when I found out my ex-husband had cheated on me the whole 18 years that we had been married, that took me a lot of processing, and me not liking people lying and being false. When we got divorced, I was like, okay, well, why did you do that? I got curious about it. Well, what was going on for you? Why would you want to do? What, are you stupid? Do you really think you can handle more than one woman? Like, really, Ramo? Is that even a good idea? Like, how many lots of premenstrual tension do you want? Like, that's just daft. And we sat and we had this conversation, and I got curious. I was like, okay, well, you really hurt me now. And like, but whatever happens, we're still the Aisha family. We had children together. We will still always be the Aisha family. Just because you've made some choices doesn't mean that that makes me any less of a woman. And this is the thing I held on to. I'm still a really good person. I'm still a really capable. I'm funny. I know I am. I will own that about myself now. I know I'm funny. I make myself giggle all the time. So I know I've got to be funny because I have a very bizarre sense of humor. And I don't get a lot of people's jokes. But this is the thing, when we're owning who we are, the multifaceted, beautiful women that we are, then we get to choose whether we allow other people to see that. And I remember the more weight I gained, the more I didn't want people to see me. I was hiding. I didn't want to be in a relationship with anyone because it wasn't safe to be in a relationship. So I gained a lot of weight, and I wasn't doing it consciously. I had bulimia as a child, and I don't believe we ever overcome that. I believe we learn to deal with it, and we learn to make better choices and change the way we are. But when you get to a point where you've gained 62 kilos and it's really putting pressure on your heart, and it reminds you of when you've seen your grandmother die at the age of 53 from overweight and thyroid problems, and not taking care of her health, and you've seen all these other health challenges that people in your life have had. We've all learned from everything. We are not just a qualification or a job that we've had. We are everything that we have experienced in life. And it's about all of these beautiful jigsaw pieces coming together to say, who am I? What is my life's journey worth? What am I worth? So when we're pricing our products or our services or our time or even our health, what is my life worth? Am I going to eat all the wrong things and destroy my own health? Or am I worth more than that? I mean, Lani and I, we've been discussing, because Lani is a power lifter. Like, seriously, watching her lift those weights on some of her videos, holy moly. Like, my butt hurts from the squats I'm not doing just watching her lift, right? And this is the thing, it's like, when we look at the health of a person, it's not about the size that we're looking at, it's about how they're radiating, because it's about their energy and their love for themselves and the sleep that they're getting and their skin and all of these other beautiful facets of being a beautiful woman who is in love with herself, who knows where she's going, and knowing how much she's worth. Now, I just had an inquiry from a guy who wants one-on-one coaching with me. He wants 2 calls a week. And this is one of the things I want us to get down to, is how much we are worth. And he says, I can give you £100 a month. And I kind of looked at my phone and I was like, I was really confused. Now, before, a few years ago, I'd gone, okay. Like, no, I don't accept £100 a month for 2 coaching sessions and access to my information, which I've spent pretty much nearly £1 million on over the years, over the last 20 years. When you break that down, it's not that much a year, especially when you consider all the books and the hours of training I've done and the courses I've invested in, the coaches I've invested in, you know, not just professionally, but personally. So all the science books I read for being a geek, all of the medical books that I've read when I was studying neurology to help my ex-husband, all the books on theology that I've read, and all the books on political history of the Arab world. When I build all of those books into it, my knowledge is vast. And this is what I want to encourage you ladies to look into. Look at everything that you are. Look at everything that you have learned and all of your experiences, because when you get down to your hourly rate, when this guy suggested £100 for me for an hour for a month's coaching, when we break that down into a daily rate and a monthly rate, sorry, an hourly rate, and then we look at that on a minute by minute rate, here comes Miss Lavelli. She's got the ice off the stuff in Labrador. Good morning. When we break it down, our hourly rate down, this guy is not even paying me £1 for a minute of my time. So how much does he value me? How much does he value himself? How much does he value his vision? He can't value it that much if he's not even willing to invest more than £1 a minute into his growth, when you consider he'll go and he'll buy maybe a bottle of champagne, which will probably be gone in an hour. When you consider what we are willing to spend money on, but we're not willing to invest that in our personal growth, or we're not willing to invest that into, say, an item of clothing that we've made, or we're not willing to invest that into the food in which we're putting into our bodies. Now, some of the clients that I've worked with, there's one young lady who I can think of straight away. I actually said to her on a call, I said, if I could reach into this computer and grab you and slap you silly, how much do you not want to charge? It would be that much. You have got, she had a 5-week course, which she had spent quite a lot of time developing and marketing, and that she had put lots of her journey into. I said, how much is that worth to you? How much are you worth? But also consider, what is the impact your coaching or your program is having on them, not just immediately, but long term. What are the changes you're creating in these people's lives that actually have them, one, get up with joy in the morning? Because some of us don't consider how much happiness we bring to people's lives. We put it on, okay, how much can they then go on to earn, or what kind of goals can they achieve? But really, it's the intimacy that we have with ourselves and the joy we have with ourselves and what we get to play at doing every day. And it's one of the reasons why, when I mentioned that, why am I always so motivated? It's because everything that I do makes me get excited. All of the coaching that I've invested in, all of the work and all the books that I've ever invested in have made me so excited about being Dawn that I don't want to go. I don't want to stay in bed all day. I've got the Latin dance to do every day. You know, I like dancing around like a drunken octopus because I haven't got that good a coordination when it comes to shaking and wiggling and the arms and the legs, and we're doing that. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if people could see me now, they'd be giggling, but I'm giggling, so it's all right. You know, and so these are some of the things that I like to consider. You know, what is it that we're investing in? We're investing in our joy. And if we're not willing to invest in our joy, and we're not willing to invest in our health, then how are we going to expect other people to invest in us and their joy and their health and their knowledge? Because when we invest in ourselves and we choose an amount that we're investing in ourselves, this is what we are then saying to the universe, that this is what we are worth. And so the clients we choose this much to invest in ourselves. So this is how much our clients are willing to invest in themselves. It is a direct correlation. So I've gone through, I mean, I made a list of all the posts that I've done and all the things that so we've looked at how I haven't mentioned the divorce being the best thing that ever happened to me, but with being married to a city boy, he wasn't much of a sailor. You know, he grew up in Cairo and in London and, you know, all the major cities. Sheffield was very landlocked, and every weekend it was out to the ocean. When we got divorced, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I hadn't actually realized how unhappy I was in that marriage. Because when he gave me the divorce, I actually felt relieved, and I hadn't realized it. I love him even now. Like I said, you know, we still annoy the hell out of each other. We still contact each other, but we're not romantically in love. We are parents together. We are in love with the journey and the friendship that we created together, and the fact that we know each other so well. We could never be together, but we both felt relieved when we both made that choice. Well, when he made the choice, we both felt very relieved. And I actually said to him, thank you so much. I didn't realize I also wanted to get out of this marriage. And we both gave each other a big hug. And when I had the trauma, and it was a very horrible experience for me, back in October 2017, the only person I could think of that I needed to see in that moment was my ex-husband. And he was there for me straight away. He said, right, I'll be there in half an hour. He was on the other side of Sheffield, and he dropped everything to come and be with me. So even though we're not married, we will still be there. We are still there for each other. He was the only person I could think of. And we both sat down and we both decided that it was because we had both done the work. We had both invested in ourselves over the years that had brought us to a point where we could let go of ego. And this is the other thing about when we're investing in ourselves and we're asking our clients to invest in us, what's the long-term effect of this? Well, the long-term effect is the fact that our children, they get to see their parents go out for dinner together as a family. They get to see their parents have a deep friendship and heal their wounds and have a healthy relationship. So the children can then go on and have healthy relationships. It's a knock-on effect of us and what we're willing to show up for in the world. What is our goal? What is our mission? To be the very best version of ourselves for now and for always. And when we become the very best version of ourselves, even if some people think that me not being with my children is irresponsible, even though I have received a lot of hatred because I'm not with my children, because I think more of myself and my business and my social media presence than I do of my children. That's a very hard thing for me to have to deal with. It's not easy. And those people who know me very well will know that my children are they're my reason for breathing. Other than obviously the fact I get up to giggle and slide across the floor in my bed socks every morning, which is great fun, by the way. Add a bit of silly in your life. But when we know what we were born to do and we know what our higher goal is, my goal is to lead my children, to say to them, you matter, you are important. What you think and feel is so important and the world needs to hear it. Now, before I go on to the other things, I wanted to wonder if Laura wanted to jump on, because I know that the thing that you want to process through is work related. And I know that Valerie wants to work through something that's family related. So before I go on and do the next part of the family relation, I'm wondering if Laura, you wanted to come on and do have a breakthrough there. Is that okay? I've just unmuted you. There you go. Oops. I think I just muted you again. See, technically challenged unicorn doing a live webinar. Why is it not working? That's it.
Okay, is that okay?
That's okay.
Okay.
So you have something that you want to work through when it comes to work. What is it that you want to, what area is it?
Yes. Okay. Well, this morning I just made a big move. I left my life in Barcelona to come to the mountains. And I, for the past 5 years, have wanted to create this space where I could run retreats. So where I could bring healers and teachers from around the world and host them and run these retreats here. So right now, with how the world is and a thing like that, it's really where I'm a little bit stuck in believing in my project, which is something that I've wanted to do for 5 years. When I moved to Spain, I came with that vision. And to really have like that breakthrough, you know, like that this is it. Like I'm here, I just left my life in the city and I am really ready to make this happen.
Okay.
But I've always had a lot of fears and a lot of blockages from people not believing in me, family.
Yeah.
And you know, I also resonate a lot with your story, Dawn, because I'm also I also live separate from my children. So there's, you know, like I really there's a lot from your story that resonates with me. So in making certain decisions where I have to make this work, like I don't have an option, you know?
Okay. So several things came up for me there. Is you're a little bit stuck in believing that the project. So is that just temporarily while this is going on, or believing in the project long term?
Well, I mean, I definitely believe it's something that can work because I've done workshops and I've done things in other places, but it's always like finding those clients, you know.
Okay. So it's finding the clients.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, you also said that you've always had the fears and the blockages from family not believing in you. Although
Yes.
my mum believed I would go to sea at 8 years old when I said I would, she's still waiting for me to get a proper job.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like, you know, my
like,
father.
Mum, I've been giving other people proper jobs for a long time. Like, this is what I do. And but you know that their stuff, what they believe in you, is not even, that's not relevant.
Right.
So there's an attachment there you have to what other people think of you. And yes, there's a cliche, what other people think of you is none of your business. But when you choose to allow what other people think of you to be more than what you think of yourself, you know that you then put them above you, and that you feel inferior to them. And no one is inferior to anybody else. We all bleed red. If I kick you, you will bruise. Trust me, I do mixed martial arts. You will bruise. I used to name my bruises. But this is the thing. What you are doing, you have so much social proof that retreat centers are needed, and they will be even more needed after this.
Yes. Yes.
People have had a massive shock to the way in which they live. They have had a massive shock into how they run their businesses. And
absolutely.
A lot of employers have realized that they have been working their teams into the ground. And they will be rethinking how they deal with their clients moving forward. And that might actually be a very good marketing angle for you to go in with, saying, you know, you have realized with what you have seen that your team are more productive when they are at home, or when they get to work their own hours, or when they're in an environment that is more relaxing for them. Targeting massive companies that actually want to take care of their team and actually hiring out your retreat would be a really great client base for you to tap into. But also knowing that there are clients out there. You know, there are some people that go, well, how can I charge 10 grand a day? That's more than some people earn in a year. It's like, because you can. You get to choose.
Right.
You get to choose how much your center is worth. You get to choose how much that healing is worth and how much your life is worth.
Yes, absolutely.
So finding the clients, I would say, instead of worrying, just think the worry that you probably need to be having is, how am I going to facilitate all of these clients?
Right.
Switch it completely around, because people are going to be wanting to be there and wanting to work on of that. You know, because this shift has happened for you. You have got the time now to invest in walking into those spaces and just going, okay, what is this space going to be? And just feeling that. What is this space going to be? And feeling into that. How is the energy that you have in that space through those beautiful windows where they see that space? How much is that going to be worth to someone? Imagine one of your clients that turns up is based in a city and they don't see those views. How much is that view going to be worth for them?
Right.
And this is the thing, when we look at what it is that we're offering, how much is that worth? You know, the peace of mind, the creativity that they then get to have. You know, like people like Mel's a virtual assistant. She takes all of the stuff off you so that you have got time to think. And you can go, actually, this is what I need to be doing. You get time to be still. You get time to do your workout. You get time to breathe. Mel sells time to breathe. Mel sells the creative space for entrepreneurs to create. You are selling stillness.
Exactly.
How much is that worth to a busy executive?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, right now I've spent the past 2 months in an apartment, in a 1-bedroom apartment with no balcony. So I know, just arriving here and seeing all the green, and I was like, you know, like So
Oh, I just got goosebumps completely down my left-hand side. So my feminine is so activated by that right now. And this is the thing, when you sit down and you tap into what you felt and what I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment in the heart of Buenos Aires with no balcony.
right.
I am never doing this ever again, ever. I don't have an ocean view. Like that is, I'm only 700 meters from the marina, but I can't go to the marina. If I get caught down on the marina and I don't have permission papers, I'm off to the police cell. That's how bad it still is here. But what you have experienced coming from that, how much is that worth to you?
Yeah.
If you had to write
Yeah.
down a price right now, write it down. What would that be? Be still, listening to the birds and hearing their song, breathing in that fresh air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know what?
It's more than I think. Yeah, it's more than I was thinking before.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Don't worry about the amount of zeros that are on the end of it. It doesn't matter, because you know how much that is worth. And when you put that into it, you get to say
Mm-hmm.
no. And as Samantha says, no is a complete sentence.
Right.
And yes
Very
is
true.
a complete sentence. You don't need to justify it. Oh, can you give me a discount? No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
Very
think
true.
I think you'll be inundated. I really do. And the thing is, when you know what you're worth and you know what your center is worth, then you'll be able to project that,
Mm-hmm.
and you will be able to then send that out into the world. And then the right people will come, because you want the right people. You don't just want people, you want the right people. And if you have
True.
to polarize people, and this is why getting your environment ready and knowing your environment and having the right people in your space, you will find the right people to work with, and you will find the right people, and they will show up and they will see what you're worth, because you are saying, I don't want to deal with you, those other kind of people. And it's not because they're nasty people, it's not because they're not nice people, they're just not my kind of people. They don't value the same things that I value. They might be the most beautiful people on the planet. They might have a heart of gold, a rough diamond, as they say. Your people are not rough diamonds. Your people are rose quartz crystals. You know, your people are mountain views. Your people are fresh air. Rough diamonds belong down in the mine to be dug out. We're not dealing with the rough diamonds.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And as for being separate from your children, I don't know about you, but stepping away from my children has been the best thing for all of us, because they get to see a woman leading from heart space, leading and honoring herself. So they then get to show up and honor women and honor each other and honor themselves. This is one of the greatest gifts that you can be giving your children right now. Because we live in a world, just let it flow. We are living in a world, whatever's coming up, just be with that, because I can feel the emotion. Whatever is coming up, okay, just let it go. You're in a sacred space here. All these ladies here that have shown up, we all get it, okay? But whatever is coming up for you and your children right now is going to do the world so much good, because we are living in a world where we are still living in a model of parenting that is from the 1940s, from 19 whatever it is. We're not in 1940 anymore. That model of parenting is over. We are in 2020, and we are going to get to create whatever it is that we need to be creating here in this time. The world is a very different place, and there is no right or wrong way to parent. We are gifting our children freedom to choose how they live their life, freedom to be themselves. And that's needed, because people think they have to parent a certain way. People think they have to be 2.4 children with the white picket fence, and that's 1950s America. I don't know anyone in England with a white picket fence. I know them with stone walls. And most people have either got 2, 3. I mean, I know someone who's got 5 children. I mean, I had one in each hand. That was more than enough for me. Whew. And they were 4 years apart. Something I planned at the age of 16. I had my whole life planned out by the age of 40. It was like, okay, by the age of 40, I'm going to have 2 children. I'm going to have my own business. This is what I'm going to be doing. Work back. Okay, well, if I'm going to have 2 children by this time, I wanted both of my children by the age of 30. Because when I was at school, I studied child development. And I was ridiculed for that, because child development was for all the thick children. And I was like, well, why is that for all the stupid children? I want to be a mother. You want to be an accountant. You're studying maths. You want to be a doctor. That's why you're studying science. I want to be a mother. That's why I'm studying child development. Why is me studying child development stupid? If anything, you're the stupid one, because you don't want to be learning about how your children work. But I've always had this thing about psychology, and like I said, the curiosity. Okay. So it's about us getting curious again. What is it that you and your children are creating separately, so that when they're a little bit older, you can come together and create something beautiful together? Maybe you do parenting retreats at this beautiful Pyrenees location that you're in. Maybe you do family healing retreats. What is it that your children are bringing to the table that you have given them the space to create in that space?
Yes.
You have a blank canvas, Laura. Go paint.
Yes, I will.
Painting retreat, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I will.
You're very welcome.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
It was a miracle that I just made it right in time for this. I'm so thankful. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's divine timing. Divine timing. Yeah. Everything is. And this is the thing, ladies. I was talking with Sam. We had a quick 5-hour call last night. Don't ever, if you want to engage with Sam, make sure you've got a long period of time, because this woman, she can't have a quick cup of tea with anybody. The first time her and I had a quick cup of tea was 6 hours. Right? Honestly, we laugh, we cry, we have a core workout. She's hilarious. She's also an author, somebody who I co-write with for the One Tribe magazine. We've only had, I don't know, 4 conversations. She's a beautiful human being. She's going to blush, I know she is, and she's going to, I'll stop it, right? And she's going to do all of that. But, you know, don't you go getting those tears, Miss Laverly, right? But the thing is, when we come together as women and we rise together and we support each other and we spend the time with each other, it can be so beautiful, and we get to be and again, like I said, your environment that you're creating, whether it is the beautiful mountain views or the icescapes of Labrador. And it's just so funny that this, I will tell you something that I find funny about my connection with Samantha. When I've been looking at the charts of the world as I'm going to be sailing around, this is how I choose my destinations, but like consciously. I look at the map, or the charts rather, and I saw a place called Labrador. I love dogs. I was like, oh, there's a Labrador Sea. I've got to cross the Labrador Sea. That would be amazing. And lo and behold, I then kept going, I'm going to do the Labrador Sea. And then I noticed there was an island just off the coast of Greenland called Disco Island. I'm like, well, I've got to stay on the Labrador Sea so I can go and party on Disco Island. That was the thing, right? That's how I choose it. And the rest of it in between is just whatever the universe shows up for. Now, again, so we choose our environment consciously and unconsciously. We choose our environment with the people that we want in our space. And then we get to choose, like I was just working through with Laura just then, the rough diamonds or the rose quartz crystals or the fresh air or the sunshine. If we choose not to have them in our life, it's not because they're bad people. It's just they're not our kind of people. I have said goodbye to so many people over the last 2 years. And it's like I am shedding my skin like a snake. I go through my contact list. And this is something that I really encourage you ladies to do. If you don't do this already, go through your phone. Anybody that I call it the party test, party invite test. Okay, imagine you have got a party and you want to invite all these people to your party, and then you get a yes. How do you feel when you get that yes? If it's oh yeah, they're going to invite, whoa, then you need them in your life. You need those kind of people in your life. If you get a yes from someone and you go, oh my God, they said yes, you know there needs to be a distance put or a goodbye put. It's not, and it's a great way of doing it. And also on your social media, you'll probably notice I don't have very many people on my social media. All those 1,300 people, they have been with me for a very long time. A lot of them, some of them have been with me since I was 11 years old. I know absolutely every single person on that list, or I have invited them into my space because I want to get to know them. And we've shared a few messages. We might have even had a virtual cup of tea. But it's because I want them in my space. And if I choose after a few months that actually, I don't want you in my space, I just quietly go, thank you so much for connecting with me. It was an absolute pleasure, or not so much. Or if they haven't bothered to respond to the messages that I've sent them, I'm like, okay, well, you haven't responded to any of the messages, but you've sent me lots of sales pitches. Or the moment I accept someone's friendship request and I get lots of sales pitches into my inbox, it's a delete. It's like, I'm sorry, love. I don't do arranged marriages. I don't, I'm not going to marry you off the back of the first date. If that's all I am to you, then you're gone out of my life. I'm someone who likes to build relationships. And if you're not in a relationship with me, then it's not about whether we're going to sell to each other, or we might end up working with each other. We might just be the giggle fest that we each other need. Whatever that is, however that shows up, because laughter is one of the most expensive commodities that we ever have. Our time and our joy is priceless. So, now, I know that Valerie wanted to work through something with me. And is that still something that you want to go ahead and do, Valerie? Shall I take you off mute, or are you good? Or yeah?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just want to say that listening to you, I processed a lot of things and a lot of things got clear. So I'd like to thank you for that. And I think I'm good now.
Okay, so, cool.
Yeah.
Bonus.
Very clear. Very clear. Thank you.
You're very welcome, my darling, anytime. So what I'm going to do is I've still got a few items that I said that I would cover on this call. So I've gone through why our environment is so important, and why getting divorced was the best thing ever, and how we can use see, even mixed martial arts skills are really good when you go to knock your coffee off the table. You've got quick reflexes. And this is the thing, it's about looking at all the skills we have, because at the beginning I said us mothers are the best project managers out there because we have to juggle so much, but also as women, like, what is it that we are community beings, like, and we look at men. And one of the things I've seen is the way women emasculate men so much. And this was another reason why my divorce was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because I got to be present. Okay, why does he not want to be married to me? How have I been showing up in our marriage? Okay, so That's how I've been showing up in our marriage. Okay, where else do I behave like that? Where else am I making people wrong? Where else am I not showing up for other people? But ultimately, where else am I not showing up for myself? Because what is lacking in our romantic relationship is what's lacking with our own relationship with ourselves. And when I went through that really evil trauma, I mean, I don't probably need to spell it out for a lot of you, but it was not very pleasant. And thankfully, I don't remember much about it. I have flashbacks and I'm still processing a lot of them. But one of the reasons why it's been good for me to not be with my children is because had I have been with my children whilst processing all of this, my journey into resolving and healing those wounds would have been so much more difficult to process, because as a mother, I would have wanted to put them first and I wouldn't have been able to focus on myself, so that my healing was quicker. Not as in quick, let's get it dealt with, but I can go down deep and I can feel those feels and I can release that trauma. And the thing is, by doing that, I was able to go, okay, what is this? I'm not that, and I have this thing, I'm not that special. I am special, obviously. We're all special. And some of us are a bit more special than others. But we need to take time out for ourselves. And if I'm going through what I'm going through, the fact that I'm not that special actually means that there are other people going through what I am going through. And it's when we understand that we know that we can show up and lead other people. What are you eating, Lani? Is that cream cheese on bread? Oh, I had cream cheese last night. So anyway, but when we get present to what it is that we have been through, and any traumas or any evils or anything negative, we then get to choose how we convert that, how we alchemize that negative energy, and then how we create positives from it. Now, one of the things that I have won a few clients with is when they find out how I handle their data. Now, I do not put my client notes on my computer. My computer is like Fort Knox. I have virtual private networks. All my stuff is saved on multiple servers around the world. Like I said at the very beginning of this webinar, my IT background and my knowledge of cybersecurity, you know, that my client, or none of their stuff is kept on my computer, because if my computer gets broken into, which is highly unlikely, or it gets lost, that means all my client stuff is on my laptop, with all my social media links on my laptop, also with my phone. So everything gets written down into a notebook. And then what I do after a session, and I've given them back their stuff, I mean, I will record the first session and then I send it to them. But everything after that goes down in a journal or a notebook, because then what I can do is I can go and burn that journal. And then I use the fire to alchemize it. And what I do is any fears and doubts that they have, I then burn those fears to the ground. Now, if, like for at the moment, I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment. I have no balcony. There is no beach nearby. Normally, I would go to the beach for a sunset swim. I would go and swim. I'd put my intention as I'm in the ocean, and then I would come back onto the beach. I would have a fire. I would burn the journals, and I would burn all their fears and doubts to the ground and alchemize with the fire, and turn all their hopes and dreams and positiveness into a beautiful, warm, beautiful light, and actually allow the sparks to send it off up into the universe. That's a bit witchy woo-woo for a lot of people, but it works. Okay, the power of nature is it's amazing. But that also means that my clients' work and my clients' dreams cannot be associated to them, because a first name in a journal cannot be linked to anything on my laptop. It also means that that energy that has gone through me, that I've held space for, has then gone into, I have then alchemized through the pen, through the liquid ink or through the crayon into a book, and then it's gone. It's not a weight that I'm carrying. It's not taking up space in my computer. Because again, using the computer, the people that are in your space, they are taking up space. And when you remove the people that are taking up space in your life, that do not belong in your life, then you get to create more space for these people. Now, I was on a coaching call and they said, why have you only got this many people on your personal Facebook, Dawn? I'm like, because I want to be able to communicate with all of those people. I want to be able to interact with all of those people. I am only one person. I do not want to have all of these, I call them microbots because I've got 2 teenage boys and I'm thinking of the Transformers. But all these Autobots and things like that, I don't really like them because they're so impersonal. I like to message people individually. My relationship with them then builds and that becomes stronger. It's not, it doesn't feel icky for me. And people feel valued when they get an individual message. Yes, it might take me longer, but the results long term far outweigh me spending. I mean, while I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to send this person. I want to invite this person. While I'm waiting for the kettle to boil, you know, it's just really when a client tells me they're learning something, like my children, when my eldest is really into Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I thought I knew about Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I know nothing. So on Friday, I spent a couple of hours looking at Dungeons and Dragons, and the conversation my son and I had after that was so much more beautiful and engaged and connected because I had chosen to spend 2 hours learning about something that interested him. He felt valued, and that was only 2 hours of my time, but that connection afterwards, and I run that throughout my whole life. I show an interest in everybody who is in my space. I will send them a message and they go, I can't believe you know that about me. I'm like, well, why would you not? Well, you know, you took the time. And it's when I hear that women are surprised that I have taken the time to get to know them and what interests them, or I've sent them a message, how are you feeling? I've just noticed your post. I'm not going to comment publicly. I wanted to send you a message privately. That is so much more powerful for me as a human to receive a private message. So why would I not give that gift to another person? And this is the thing. So this is why I'm saying choose your environment. Make sure that when you're looking at things that are happening in your life, why is this happening for me? And how can I gift this to others? And one of the things that I mentioned how I've lost 62 kilos. So I know quite a bit about health and self-love, and, you know, I can almost squat the same amount of weight that I've lost. And one of the things that I remember my sensei, when I was training, he said to me, he goes, Dawn, can you carry this? Because we were carrying those big heavy weighted balls. He gave me a 10-kilo one. He goes, can you carry this and run up and down the hill? I was like, I've been carrying 62 kilos all my life for the last 3 years. I think I can carry 10 kilos up and down this hill. And he goes, what? Well, I've been 62 kilos heavier, sensei. I can carry 10 kilos because I've been doing it on my joints and on my heart and on my lungs and everything else. So if I can't do it and I get stuck coming back up this hill, then I'm just going to have to kick my own ass and say, come on, you've been carrying this extra weight for this amount of time. You can get back up this hill. When I did my my open water swim for motor neuron disease, that came about because my next door neighbor, and again, I became a patron of the Sheffield Institute for Translational Neurosciences, because not only did I have the knowledge of neuroscience, having studied neurology when my ex-husband had had a brain tumor, but my next door neighbor, Kathy, I had seen her go from hiking with a big backpack and doing all these wonderful exercises in her back garden to not being able to move and to struggling. And I started finding out, I got curious. Why is it that Kathy's not doing this anymore? Turns out she has motor neuron disease. So I started looking into motor neuron disease. What is motor neuron disease? How can I support Kathy? You know, how can I do this? How can I support her? And the thing for me is that I got curious and, oh, bye Mel. But I got curious about it. And because of my curiosity, I was then able to do a fundraiser, and I put on a fashion show because I've always done events and I loved fashion. But then I raised so much money for the Motor Neuron Disease Foundation that I became a founding patron of the Sheffield Institute of Translational Neurosciences, which is now one of the biggest leading organizations in Europe for looking into things such as stroke, epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, migraines, and motor neuron disease and ALS, and understanding how the brain functions and how we can actually reconnect neural pathways. So again, it was looking at the health of a person, but then that led me down the path of, okay, well, if we can do that, and that's all the thought processes, how can our positive thoughts connect all these neural pathways, and how can we connect all the rest of the dots in our life? Because our mind is not separate to the rest of us. Lani, you have things like strong body, able mind, and reversing that, able mind, strong body. You know, the way in which we think about ourselves and how worthy we are impacts the way our body feels about how it is and how much our body can do. And if that is so, then looking at everything that we have learned throughout time, how much can we then use that to impact other areas of our life and other people positively? So again, it's this whole jigsaw puzzle of who we are and how much value we have for ourselves, our families, and our communities. I'm just making sure, because I know that we've got 10 more minutes before the end of this call. So I just want to make sure that I'm staying on track. And if there's any more questions that any of you have got, please do keep popping them in the chat. Done that one. Keeping myself motivated, I've covered that. The long distance joys. Okay, the last thing is the constant movement, life at sea, and constantly traveling and being on the move, and how I deal with this. Now, I'm using the word, how do I deal with it? Because this is something that other people have asked me, how do you deal with it? But I'm not somebody who deals with stuff. I'm not someone who copes with stuff. I just am. I am just here in the moment. This whole quarantine thing, I don't find, that's okay. You came when you came, it's all good. The whole quarantine thing, my life is no different. I don't feel any different. I mean, I see people having a different conversation and I'm thinking, I must be in an alternative universe. And I'm loving it that I'm in my own little world. Because as I was saying to Sam last night, that for me, waiting for the borders to open is no different for me waiting for the trade winds to arrive. If I've missed the trade winds, which is what we need to sail across the oceans, then I have to wait until the next winds come. Or I have to wait for hurricane season to move on, or typhoon season to disappear. Or if there is a massive storm coming, we're just going to be sat in the marina waiting. We'll probably be fixing stuff on the boats or doing little jobs, or we'll just be sat around reading or playing cards or provisioning or doing other things that need to be done. And for me, that's the mindset. I mean, I don't really like the word mindset because it's like you've set your, but then it can be useful because when you set your mind to something, then it will happen. I.e., when I was 8 years old, I knew I would go and live at sea. Well, here I am, as my mum said, took me bloody long enough to get here. Took me 32 years to finally go and live at sea, but I did it, I got there. And has it been everything I thought it would be? Well, not really. It's been a heck of a lot more. I've enjoyed it a lot more, but I've also grown from it. And this whole thing of not being attached to one place, or not being attached to one home, or attached to possessions, everything I have with me fits into my backpack or my rucksack. Oh, and my wet bag, because my wet bag's got my snorkel gear in it, my skipping rope, my tension bands, and my wrist wraps. And I've got my sleeping bag with me, and God help the palm tree that I get to wrap around my sleeping bag round with some bungee cords, because I am so in need of a martial arts workout that the tree will probably get it. But this is the thing, I am not attached to possessions. I know that having faced what I went through with my ex-husband when he had his brain tumor, and I was given 24 hours to live when I had my second child. And you know, when these things happen for you in life, and people start getting into this whole, oh, but I've got this to deal with, oh, but I'm this, oh, but I've got, you know, I'm busy with the kids, oh, well, you know, like, and I'm just like, really, seriously? Like, how much stress, jealousy do you want to go through, love? Go read my books. I've lived through a civil war. You know, I have faced my mortality, and, you know, 3 times. I've been overboard on a yacht and smashed my teeth. You know, that happened for me. I had to get present to the fact that it didn't matter whether I had front teeth or not, I was still beautiful. That was dealing with that out at sea was an interesting perspective, because I was like, oh my God, I've got no teeth. There goes my avocado with seeds on it for a week. Not a good thing. But you learn to go inwards when you're on the ocean, and when you spend so much time by yourself, and you get rid of your attachment to clothing and to fashion and to what's going on in the local village or in the local town, or what's going on in your family dramas, spending time by yourself and constantly moving, you're moving the energy, you're learning about cultures, you're learning about different ways of life and different rhythms. So you grow as a person, and you're gifted so many insights. And what it is that people are worrying about in one country or one society really is nothing to be worrying about. When I saw all of those women being dragged off the streets in Cairo because they wore a burqa, and I heard their screams and their child screaming because mummy has just been taken away from them by the government, the military. When you hear people whinging and moaning that they haven't got XYZ, or the pub is not open, you kind of think, hang on a second, let's put things into perspective here, shall we? You're worrying that the pub is not open, but, you know, this person doesn't even have a home to live in. And I know that for some people, this is such a big leap and they can't fathom it. And one of the other things about my environment is people have fallen away because they cannot relate to me anymore. They cannot relate to what it's like to travel around the world and not be attached to lots of things. I don't want my life to be made up of things. I want it to be made up of beautiful people and beautiful experiences. I want it to be filled with stories, so that when I'm an old doddering woman, you know, and my boys are old men, and I'm like probably not got all my faculties, at least I've got some memories, and they might all get all woven together in a, you know, in a crazy moment of like sort of psychedelia. Whatever's going to happen with our minds, we don't know. But at least those stories that I've had will have made one beautiful story. And isn't that what we all are fundamentally? Each and every single one of us, regardless of whether we're an author, we're all a beautiful story that's unfolding. And when we love ourselves and our story, and we let go of our attachments of the shoulds and how we should, like, I should be doing a live stream every day. I should be putting out a really hard offer. You know, yesterday I put an invitation. If you want to join the Phoenix Rising Challenge, here's an invitation. It might be what you're looking for. It might not be. I'm committed to my goal of supporting and empowering women and helping people that have gone through something incredible that they can then share as an author. I'm not going to go into the whole book coach, do a book, write a pamphlet of 10,000 words, and then do a 24-hour international best-selling campaign and sell it for 99 cents. That is really icky for me. I don't do that, and I personally think that that is a waste of time. I think that that does you and your audience a disservice. When you write from the heart and you write from soul and you write a book that is going to change the world, you don't need to discount it. You don't need to sell it for 99 cents over 24 hours, because people will want to buy it, because people are done. There are hundreds of thousands of top 10 tips. Russell Brunson and Jeff Walker, they've done the books on how to create a sales funnel. There are lots of people that know how to do that, but not a lot of people know about you, and you are the best person to represent you and the things that you stand for. The most successful people in the world that want a different challenge want to read about you, because they're done reading all the self-helps and how to be successful books, because they're already successful. So if you want to be the person that they go to for insight, a lot of these successful people, regardless of however you define success, you know, one of my clients, she claims to be that she's so successful, not because of the fact that she's got millions in the bank. It's her distance traveled. She came from 4th generation benefits family. Every single generation of her family had handouts from the government. They used to sell their children into prostitution and send their boys out to go and sell drugs. Her biggest achievement was moving away from that, getting a job and going to university and buying her own home. That is a level of success most people will never have, because that distance traveled is huge. And that for me is much more successful than someone who's had a very easy life, who's had parents supporting and cheering them on, that's gone to university, that has then got a successful 7-figure job, or has always been loved on by their family and supported and encouraged. That young lady is more successful to me, in my eyes, than the people at the top end of the scale that are making all of that money. And this is the thing, her journey is an incredible story. Writing that in a book helps other people get perspective on their life. And it puts things into perspective. So when we are actually sharing from our heart and we share our journey, we actually get to connect with humanity on a much more beautiful, deeper level, and we get to inspire more people. And so that's why I'm an author coach, not a book coach or a writing coach. Both of those come into it, but it's not why I am I choose to be an author coach, because I've got 20 years. And again, when I say to you, look at who you are and look at all areas of your learning, having been an entrepreneur for 20 years, having worked in IT and computer science and cybersecurity, having gone through supporting an ex-husband with a brain tumor, living in the Arab world through a civil war, and speaking Arabic and traveling, and all the other beautiful things about me that you guys have about yourself, your journey is just as wonderful and is just as powerful. But when we bring all of that together and then we gift that to others, and the understanding that we all have, how much more beautiful is that? Becoming who we truly are by owning all of who we are is the best gift we can give ourselves and to other women and to our children and to our husbands or our partners or to other people, complete strangers in the street. It's, and just to leave you with something, I remember being in Amsterdam in a coffee shop, and there was there were two guys, and they were speaking in Arabic. And I was there and I was giggling because I could understand what they were saying. And I was trying hard not to giggle. And the next thing I know, this guy has noticed that I'm giggling, and he was like, تتكلم عربي? And I was like, ah, see. Well, not see, because that's Spanish. I have a bit of English, Spanish, Arabic flow going on at the moment. It gets a bit confusing. But the fact that I understood him, I was able to connect with him. And this is the thing, it's just something that we take for granted about ourselves can actually have such a profound impact on us. I ended up being invited for dinner. I ended up like, I've now got another family in Morocco that I can go visit anytime. I get beautiful messages because I showed up as myself. I wasn't afraid to let people know that I speak Arabic. Although it has caused me problems because of the racism and the problems that we have with Arabs in the world, that people view them as dangerous people, but they are the most loving people that I've ever met. And the fact that I was gifted an opportunity of meeting an Egyptian Palestinian, and I went deep into that study, I'm actually now able to gift understanding to a wider community. And I never ever thought that that would be a thing. I never thought me meeting my ex-husband in the middle of the rave would actually help me create world peace on an individual level. So understand who you are, love who you are, own all of who you are. And if anything else that I've spoken to today resonates with you, then do let me know. I'm going to take you all off mute now. I don't know how I do it as a collective, so I'm going to do it individually, or if you can do it yourself. Kim's been very quiet, is there anything that you would like to ask me before we oh, it's 11:33. Is there anything that you ladies would like to say or ask on what you've heard? No? You're very quiet.
I just want to say thanks for like inviting me to this group and letting me join and everything, because right now being unemployed and just not talking to anybody except my plants and my dogs, it's good to see other people on the screen, even though we can't be physically in front of each other. But I think being able to talk to other people, it's helping me stay sane, but also just letting me think through things about myself. And maybe I will get to write more things down. And sometimes it's like I block things that I should be talking about, but I don't. And just listening to everybody else and listening to you, Dawn, and just like it kind of is oozing out a little bit, but it's still, I try to fight it, and I'm trying not to. I'm trying to just let it kind of go.
You need to go Borg on your own backside, love. Resistance is futile, as Seven of Nine said in Star Trek to Jean-Luc Picard. Resistance is futile. It's going to come. And this is the thing, whether it's a gentle love nudge at the beginning or whether it's a punch in the face from the universe, it's going to come and get you. You can only run so fast.
Right. And I feel
and
like
there is no maybe. There is just one day.
I'm in that space right now where I don't want to look for a job and work for somebody else.
Then don't.
I really don't. It's like, it's the most daunting and most stressful thing about my day is giving myself this time to look through job postings. I'm like, ugh.
Then look for clients instead. Don't look for jobs, look for clients.
It's nice to be able to realize that there are other people doing their own thing. And yeah, it's freaking scary, but you got to do it.
So is childbirth, love. So is looking at the weights that you lift.
And it's my outlet. I love it. So it's kind of, not many people understand it, and I think that's why I want to like talk about it even more, because it's, especially for women. Women don't know how empowering it is to lift the weight. So thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And like I said, don't look for jobs, look for clients. Because a client is a job, right? When you reframe it and remove that, when you spend all those hours looking for jobs, you could just be looking for a job with your clients.
Yeah. I mean, I also think about it too, and if and when I interview, it's like I'm interviewing the company as well. Like, I don't just want to have a job just to have another job. I'm actually like interviewing you. So I'm putting my time into you
Absolutely.
for 8 hours a day. And that's all you get from me. I don't want to give you 8.25 hours. I want to,
But you would give yourself 16.
On other things, yes, but
Mm.
not working for somebody else. So that's
Don't
kind of
it-
where my thought process has been lately.
Cool. You're very welcome, Kim. And this is something one of the ladies who wanted to join, she asked for the recording. She's looking after, she's got 3 babies. She's in Australia and she's got 3 babies, all of them under 2. I think she had triplets. I'm like, holy moly. Like that, I mean, like I said, I had 2 children 4 years apart. That was more than enough for me. I had just like, one was, when the second one started toddling, the first one went off to school. Perfect. Had that plan down to a T when I did that plan at 16. But if your children were with you, I mean, I've been on stage breastfeeding on an expert, my youngest child, in front of 250 people, sat on an expert panel for a women's empowerment event. The thing is, we are women. We are multifaceted. So if you had wanted your children on your knee whilst doing this, then absolutely bring them on. We make it work. You're very, very welcome, Laura. Thank you so much for allowing me to work with you in front of these lovely ladies. I really acknowledge you, and just know that everything is working out as it should do. And you tapped into something very beautiful there right now. So yeah, looking forward to seeing the results of what you create. What about yourself, Valerie and Riz? Is there anything that you would like to add, or anything you'd like to say before we end this call?
Well, I would like to say thank you for this, and it's been very much clearer now, and I know why I had to listen to this call today, and I know now why I was drawn to you all this time. So yeah, thank you, and yeah, I'll figure things out. Thanks a lot for sharing.
You're very, very welcome, my darling. Very welcome. Riz, you're all good there?
Yeah, and just thanks from me. I always appreciate your down-to-earth energy, and I'm just really glad that I was able to make it on the call for a bit. Everybody on here has a really nice smile and good energy, and I'm not surprised because you attract such lovely people. So yeah, just thanks for all of the nuggets I've written down. Resistance is futile. Like that.
Yeah, okay, well, I know that you missed the beginning, so like I said, I have recorded it, so I will send you all a recording of this. So if there's anything that you would like to play back or go over it, people send me recordings, very unlikely I ever go through or I ever watch it, because I always go from what I get in the moment. But you will have that recording there if you wish to go through it. I know that you missed it, so there'll be stuff there for you yourself, Riz. But again, Laura, I really, I'm so grateful for all of you for joining and for holding space with Laura, holding space with me for Laura while she worked through that, because she's got something very
Thank you so
special.
much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Right then, ladies, I'm going to have to say goodbye. I've got to go and prepare for a coaching call with a client and get some more words of my client. And I'm writing a manuscript for a very, very wonderful lady out in Australia. Which I'm very excited about. So I need to go and get some, probably another 5,000-7,000 words written for her manuscript. So I'm going to go crack on and get on with that. But if there's anything that you feel called to reach out to me about after this, you want to message me, you've got any questions, just let me know, either through direct messenger or email at hello@dawnbates.com, and I'll answer. Because I know that, but messenger seems to work pretty well with most of us here. But anything I can do, just let me know if any questions. But have an amazing day, all of you, yeah?
Thank you. Thank you so much,
welcome.
everyone. Thank you. Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care, bye. Take care. Ciao, ciao.